Okay, doing a quick video to explain how on an ultra-wide on Linux to record a portion of the screen. So this monitor that I have here that OBS is showing the entire display of is a 3440 by 1440 21 by 9 ultra-wide monitor. The problem is I want to record a portion of the screen, that will come out to be 1920 by 1080. That could be a portion of the screen that is the whole height but a little bit shorter, so it's the same aspect ratio. That might be an actual 1920 by 1080p section of the monitor, which you can see this Firefox window here is that size. That's what I ended up preferring to do is doing that, because then it gives me more space. Pretty much what it means is when in the actual recording settings that I actually use, this window here, that right here, this whole window is the kind of the scene for the thing, and all this space down here is not recorded. All the space over here is not recorded, so that makes it really nice to have notes down here, have OBS over here so I can keep track of like what's being recorded and my settings and stuff, and just have different reference materials that are not being shown for the actual video that I'm recording. So the way to do that on Linux is to download this tool called, I believe it's called Fancy Tiles, which is a thing over here that you install. You just run this command, install it, and then download it or enable it, and then you just hit Windows G and you can have this little designer tool. It's kind of like Windows Fancy Zones, slightly less effective, because for one reason that I'll mention here is that you can't see the actual pixel sizes of these segments. You can get it good enough, and I was able to actually use OBS in a certain way to get the right proportions, but it really doesn't matter. It's not that big of a deal. But what you do is, so what I did, for example, well, I'll just show you my preset is this right here. So you can see, it's kind of hard to see with all the other lines, but let's actually jump to this one real quick. And now you can see it a little better. You can see there's a section here of 2x2 section. This is 1920 by 1080. And then over here is just extra divided into fours, and then down here is just extras. So the way it works is you, say on a blank page, you hold Control to do a vertical line, and now you have two sections. So then if, for example, I save this, holding Alt and clicking on this guy, then I can load it. Now you can see if I am trying to drag this around and hold Control, I can see these two windows. I can snap to these windows. And that's awesome. The way to do that then is open it back up, Windows G. Load my preset that I actually have here. So I have this, and then I can snap to this section here, and then I can go into a different OBS scene that I have. You can see here, and this is a scene where it's the same. If I move OBS over here, you can actually see it's kind of the same display, but I've just cropped the actual display capture. Or I think actually, if I remember correctly, I'm not sure exactly how OBS works, but essentially for this scene, see, I don't know how it works, because for this, I think this might be black bars. So really what I'd want to do after this, you can't really change the settings while recording, is have this base canvas resolution be 1920 by 1080, the output scale the same, 1920 by 1080, so that then the overall canvas within OBS is 1920 by 1080, and then I have this the actual ultra wide source. I think I just had it like kind of scaled up or down like this, so that it's 1920 or 1080, if that makes sense. And then that way I can just take a window and snap it. And the way I did that was, I think I first did it in OBS, and then I opened up my Fancy Tiles and kind of just, let me see if I can actually show you what I mean, because it's kind of hard to explain. I opened up Fancy Tiles, and let's just get rid of this for a second. I could see, for example, in OBS, okay, where does the line stop? Okay, it stops about right there, so that'll be my dividing line. Let's see, vertically, hold Shift. Where does the line stop? Right about there. And then if I go back to the full scene so you can see the whole thing, you can see I ended up making a line right here and right here. And that's how I got the 1920 by 1080p portion right here. And then I just further divided that here, and I kind of guessed to get it about halfway, something like that, and wanted the same thing over here. So do the same thing. and then I have my whole thing. I can save that, and now I can snap my windows to that, and then if I switch to my 1920 by 1080 scene, you can see that is all that's in frame, because that's the portion that I have set up in OBS. So that's the gist of it. It's super nice, super easy. The setup, only thing this doesn't really solve is, you know, not necessarily an issue, but screen sharing. You know, on Windows, I would use a tool called Region to Share, which is kind of it's kind of the same thing. It uses Region to Share as well as Power Tools or Power Toys Fancy Zones, and then you could essentially have a transparent program window that is kind of as a pass-through layer that you could then, like in Teams or Discord, select as the like window to share, and that way it's showing that transparent window, but really what it's showing is anything that's within that window. So you would take that, let's just act like this is my transparent pass-through. You'd put it here, and then you'd put any window on top of it. And I say window because you'd have multiple things like this. Like if they're multiple windows, you can't share all these windows, but you could share this transparent layer, which would then show all the things underneath it, right? That's kind of the idea. That I don't have a solution for that here, but that's not really necessary for the recording aspect. It's only necessary for like streaming, like screen sharing in Discord or Teams or whatever. But that's the solution I have, and I think it works pretty nice.